Russell of RWA Fishing. I have been tagged by my buddy Luke over at Too Fat to Hunt Outdoors. It's actually two sets of questions. One set is environmental questions, and the other is why I get on YouTube. All right, let's start with the environmental questions first. There's 10 of those and 5 of the other. Question 1. How hot or cold does it get? Well, in this area, we definitely go through both extremes. The coldest that I can really remember, a couple of times seeing it get maybe like 3 or 4 degrees below zero. And the hottest, it during the summer, it can easily climb over 100 degrees. And in high humidity, oh my goodness, it makes me wonder what people meant to live in this area under those conditions. Question 2. Ever get heat stroke or frostbite? Frostbite I have never gotten. I'm usually well prepared for cold weather. Heat stroke, I may have been on the verge of that one time. One of the lakes that I fish, there's a 3.5 mile hike to it. And for some reason, one day during the summer, during a heat stroke, during a heat wave, I hiked down there, started fishing around. After a few hours, started to feel that I was getting sick. So what I did, I took shelter in some shaded area, but I always had plenty of cold water with me. Sat down on the ground in the shaded area, drank some of that ice cold water. I probably sat down for maybe like 15 minutes, and also had one of my energy bars. After that, I was good to go. But I tell you what, I will never do that again in a heat wave. That was nasty. That's probably the closest I ever come to a heat stroke. I might have been on the verge on it, or the conditions might have actually indicated it was a heat stroke. But after resting, drinking cold water, having one of my energy bars, I was good to go for the rest of the day after that. Oh, and I did catch fish too. Question 3. How many seasons? Well, we get all 4 seasons here, but they don't necessarily follow in order. Sometimes there are extreme ranges in temperature changes. You hear people say we go straight from summer to winter, or straight from spring to fall. Sometimes we just get crazy combinations up here, but we do get all 4 seasons. Question 4. How windy does it get? Some of the wind gusts that I remember could be like 45, 50 miles an hour, like during storm conditions, things like that. Tough conditions to fish in those conditions too. It's amazing, especially if you have to cast into the wind, or if you have the wind coming directly from your left or your right, and the wind just takes your lure like it's a kite. But when it's at your back, you can get some great distances. All right, question 5. What type of storms do you get? Well, we get the rainstorms, we get the snowstorms, we get sleet, we get hail, we get freezing rain. Pretty much the whole lot of what the country normally gets. But as far as some of the strongest winds, this area is actually, DC area, is actually in a very good slot, because a lot of the most severe weather, like tornadoes, hurricanes, they very, very rarely ever target the DC area. Now we get them to the north of us, to the south of us, to the east of us, further out into the bay or ocean area. But I think the last time, this is from my childhood memory of having a hurricane touch DC. Last time I remember that, I don't remember my age, but I was a kid then. But this area seems to avoid a lot of that stuff. Now, question 6. Does it flood? Well, the low-lying areas where there's poor drainage, it does flood. Sometimes in heavy rain, there will have to be a few water rescues. Like like I said, some of the areas that have poor drainage. Uh, some of the areas that are around, like where the Potomac River is in D.C., tidal basin area, sometimes that water would come up and get onto the roadway. One of the popular parks around here, East Potomac Park, a lot of times the water will come up and get above the benches that are near the water line there. So we do get some flooding, but not like some of the. All right, folks, we had a bit of a technical glitch there. For some reason, it stopped recording and went into, I think, burst mode. Well, anyway, getting back to what we were talking about, I was saying how we don't get floods here like they do out in the Midwest or some of those flatter lands. Okay. Now, moving on to question 7. Does it drought? We do have times, usually during the summer months, where the water level would drop below normal, but I haven't seen it to a point where you see, trees and other plants dying off, or the ground becoming so dry that what's on it just dies off. The most I've noticed is like the water level dropping below normal in like the reservoirs, or you notice it lower than normal in the rivers and lakes. As far as an all-out drought, I haven't seen that in this area. Now, moving on to question 8. This one's about natural disasters like landslides, mudslides, and avalanches. We don't get those here, but in 2011, we did experience that earthquake. That I think it had the what did they call it? Where the center where the earthquake emerges from. The word I can't think of it right now, but we did experience that earthquake in 2011, and at the time I was working as a mechanic at a dealership in Northern Virginia, and I was talking with the guy while we are in the shop, and the shop is concrete floor, and as I was talking with him, I noticed the floor was shaking. So I'm carrying on the conversation, and I'm asking, "What is the floor shaking?" Now, first I just thought it was a truck that comes in and takes out the used oil and antifreeze, because it's a pretty big truck and it makes the ground shake. But then as I looked around, all the cars that were on the lifts, they were rocking back and forth on the lift, and it dawned on me, this is an earthquake. I was like, cool. But we all got out of the building to a safe point, and that was probably the natural disaster that affected us the most directly. Sometimes we do have tornadoes that hit the areas that are near us. We haven't had a direct hit from a hurricane that I remember since maybe since I was a kid. I think that's the last time I remember a direct hit from a hurricane. So the DC area is like almost like in a pretty protected area where we don't get direct storms like hurricanes and tornadoes. We don't get them hitting us directly. The earthquake is a rare thing. And we don't get the others that were mentioned like landslides, mudslides, and avalanches. Question number 9. Do I know anyone that has been struck by lightning? No, I don't. No, I don't. But I'll tell you though, lightning is nothing to be played around with. If I'm out there fishing and I see lightning in the distance, pack it up and go, whether the fish are biting or not. If they're biting good, you would hate to pack it up and go. But lightning is nothing to be played around with. It is so unpredictable. You can see it in the distance miles away, and then another lightning bolt could strike you or something in your area, sneak up on you. So they stop games in their progress for lightning. It's nothing to be fooled around with. But I don't know anyone who has been struck by lightning. Now you see news reports, and you see sometimes they show the damage, like burnt up shoes and some of the clothes they had to take off. Wow, it's nothing to be fooled around with. Okay, question 10. What's the main trend? And I assume they mean the main business in this area. Here in DC, it's definitely government. You know, got the federal government here, you got the district government here, the White House, the Capitol. This is pretty much where all the decisions are made that affect not only the country but the world. And also, tourism is a big industry here. Tourists come from all over the world because there are so many historic things in this area. We have the government, the history of that. In some of the areas outside of even the district and outside of the district, there's Civil War history. There's a lot of history in this area, and it's one of the reasons tourism is so big in this area. And a lot of times you're scrolling when I'm driving through downtown, which I really hate driving through that area. It's just so busy, so congested, and tourists all over the place. Now I'm glad they're here, but a lot of those tourists they don't know how to cross the street. It's amazing more of them don't get hit than what they do. And I was trying to tell people, don't hit the tourists. We want them to come back. We like the tourists. Okay, that's it for the environmental tag questions. So now I'm going to move on to the 5 reasons I go on YouTube. Now, probably the first and main reason that I go on YouTube is to be part of a community of like-minded folks. You know, this community is a community that's from all over the world. We all have in common that we love fishing. Now, not just fishing, but just outdoor activities in general, like hunting, this and that, winter sports, and things like that. But I'll put emphasis on fishing because my channel is a fishing channel. A community of like-minded folks have that in common, and from there we can develop friendships. We can eliminate a lot of stereotypes. We can eliminate a lot of preconceived notions about people. Just take what we have in common, and go with that, and get to know one another. And like I said before, we can eliminate a lot of negativity about people that are different from ourselves, because first of all, we have that in common, that we love fishing. Fishing is a universal language. Even if you don't speak a language or someone, you can see when someone loves fishing, that is universal. That's one of the reasons I like getting subscribers from all over the world. Now, second reason I go on YouTube is to watch fishing videos, and not only fishing videos, but other activities, hunting videos, um, product reviews, things like that. And a third reason I go on YouTube is so I can share my experiences. No, before I actually started downloading videos, I watched videos for a good long while, contemplating, should I get in this game? Should I get myself a camera and video my experiences? I'm glad I did, because going on YouTube gives me a chance to share my experiences. And I've been getting wonderful positive feedback from my subscribers, and also I give positive feedback to channels that I subscribe to. And let's see, the fourth reason I go on YouTube is so I can learn things. Not only fishing techniques, not only learning from product reviews, but things like repairing things, stuff like that. Learning how to do certain things that may not even be fishing or outdoor related. Like I said, repairing things, product reviews of something I might be buying, certain information I might want to know. A lot of times I'll look up old videos of something that'll come to mind, from a memory, and you can usually find a video of it on YouTube. And let's see, the fifth reason I go on YouTube is to be entertained, because there is definitely a lot of entertainment on YouTube. You can find things that are funny. You can find things that are not so funny. You can find things that make you say there is no way that can be true. You can find things that will surprise you that they are true. But entertainment is a part of the reason I go on YouTube. Well, that concludes the 5 reasons I go on YouTube and the 10 environmental tag questions. Now, I'm going to tag 2 channels. I'm going to tag H2K Productions, and I'm going to tag Teach Me to Fish. Now, if you 2 guys want to, you can do both sets of questions or one or the other, well, whichever you like. And have fun with it. Well, folks, I had fun with doing this, and I want to thank you for watching RWA Fishing, and God bless you. I almost forgot. I'm going to put the links to the 2 channels that I'm tagging, and I'm also going to list the questions in the description. Okay, once again, thanks for watching RWA Fishing. God bless you.